Yay.
Awesome.
It worked, and we are live. We're having some fun technical stuff. But the good news is we defeated the technical difficulties.
Oh, I'm knocking on wood right now.
Right? We are go ahead and mute yourself. We're here. We're excited, and this is going to be fun. We've got a great show for you. We're live both on Twitter /YouTube landing page, so you should be watching us there. Thanks for hanging out while we got on. I realize we're running a little bit late today, but we're here.
But it's 12, it's lucky.
Make a wish, 12/12. And then we are also live on inside the Human Marketing Hub, inside of the Facebook group. So I'm sure people are going to start showing up there. People started showing up. There it is. We got Bob Farnham. Good to see you, Bob. We've got lots of fun people showing up too. I see here on Twitter. Good. And we've got Courtney. Courtney, how are you doing?
Typing away. I'm doing great. I'm just letting the Twittersphere know we are live.
Nice. And we've got Isaac. Isaac, how are you doing?
Right?
I'm great. I'm having a little bit of a sunburn day today because yesterday was Father's Day, and I think we were talking, Brian, I spent all day in the pool.
Right?
Phoenix, man, it's hot today, and it was hot yesterday.
Oh, man. It was 101 here, so I can only imagine how much it was for where you are.
Yeah, it was 100 and a lot.
100 and a lot.
Yeah. Anything triple digits is like 80s level.
Yeah, 100 and ouch.
But I hear you, man.
It's a different kind of heat, though. As long as you're not in the direct sunlight, it doesn't hurt. That's the difference between California. Moving out here, we have no humidity, so if I tell you it's 120, it's not. Doesn't feel. It's about 108 back home in Northern California.
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat, yeah, just like your oven.
That's what they say. They say. So we're gonna have some fun here today. We've got a great topic. Actually, I think a topic that has been on everyone's minds recently, especially, and we'll get into this, but it's recently about personal branding. So the topic for today is why your personal brand matters now more than ever. I personally agree with that statement, just to let everyone know where I stand. I think Courtney does as well. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we're going to find out how Isaac feels. And the reason that we want to hear from Isaac today is because he, I believe, has proven the model, in my opinion. I've come to know Isaac as just a really nice, smart guy. Emphasis on both nice and smart. And so I really appreciate Isaac being here. Isaac is a cheerleader for small business owners and buying local. So that's kind of cool, huh? And
I feel like you're a cheerleader for a lot of things. That's why I'm so excited for this chat, because I think that we're going to be able to show that you don't have to only just stand for one thing in your brand.
Right. Yeah. No. 100%. Yeah.
So Isaac loves the heart and soul that local businesses put into their products and services. That's in quotes. He said that, so you can quote him on it. Yeah. He's especially interested in helping people build their personal brand using stories on social media. And when he's not at work, which work, by the way, we'll get to that. Work, you can usually find Isaac and his kids riding their bikes at the local skate park or sampling local coffee offerings, or yesterday swimming in a pool getting sunburned. Yep. Isaac is a native of Northern California, which is where we're from too. And who transplanted to Phoenix 10 years ago to work for GoDaddy. It's this little company. You might recognize him from a video that went viral with over 75 million views. We're going to talk about that as well. So Isaac, welcome. How are you doing today?
Dude, I am so stoked to be here. I've counted down. We've been trying to do this for so long.
Yeah. And
I've been counting down the days every Monday. I'm like, is it today? No, it's not today. Is it today? No, it's not today. And so now I'm just thrilled. It's me being in Disneyland.
Yeah, it really is for us too. And I've been looking forward to this topic as well, because I think, you're going to bring some great ideas and great opinions, great thoughts to what's going on in this arena. Because, while the term is kind of new, personal branding, I don't think the concept or the action of building your own self to become an expert is that new. I think that with the advent of social, it's changed things. So enough of that. Enough about what I think. I want to hear what you think. And first and foremost, give everyone a sense as to how did you get to where you're at? What's your story? What's your background?
So I work at GoDaddy. I'm in my current title. I had to make it up, so it's social and community manager. But what it really means is my job is to help our internal employees work on their personal brand, so that other people can get to know who they are and what they're about. And that's kind of the basic part of my job. I meet with people and we talk about where they're at in the social, bubble and stratosphere, where they want to be active. And then, kind of help them identify just the basic stuff, like what are they about? Because you don't really think about it. It's just second nature. And so, I got into it because I started here 10 and a half years ago, and GoDaddy was a small company back then, compared to what we are now. And, I remember talking to my boss now, and we were talking about brand 5 years ago, and he had brought it up, and I was like, well, what do you think my brand is? And he had told me, he was like, well, you're basically a cheerleader. You're a cheerleader. And I was kind of bummed out. Like, I'm not known for like getting things done or being reliable. It was like just being an encouraging person. And so that kind of started me on a quest of like, well, what am I really known for? And so from that point on, like I looked at myself and what do I want to be known for? What do I want people to think of when they think of me? And that's been my quest for 5 years and moving on into the future.
So when your boss is Sean that you're talking about, right?
Sean Funder.
So Sean Funder has been a guest on the show. People are familiar with Sean, and he's also in the Human Marketing Hub. So when your boss comes to you and says, and I believe what you're saying is, I want you to build your personal brand, which is not normal. I don't think that brands normally tell their employees, I want you to build your personal brand. What did you think about that? What was your where did you start, and what kind of things did you go through to start building your personal brand?
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, it was I had to sit down and identify like and what he was saying was, people know you for this. I know you for so much more, but around the company or around, whatever sphere you operate in, you're known for something. And so for me, I had to go out and basically branch out and make sure that people understood, like, hey, I'm also about this. Yes, I'm excited that you work here and that we're part of the team, but I'm also excited about, social. I'm also excited about Star Wars. I'm always, other things outside of this, because if all I know you for is what you do at work, then I really don't know you. It's human, right? You have to know other people. You have to get to know them to really kind of bond. If not, you may as well just be like a walking avatar, right?
Yeah.
So, it was thinking that through and thinking like, what do I want people when I walk away? What do I want people to think? And it's hard to do, because you start out and you may get answers that you're not really stoked to hear when you start asking people. Like, if you go the route of like asking other people, what am I known for? Get some thick skin quick if you have some great friends that'll tell you honestly.
What did you hear back from your friends that you didn't like? Can you remember?
There was a few things like I'm apparently the late guy, so I know that. So, and that's the thing about like your brand, whether you like it or not, it's like credit. It's there. You can either choose to ignore it or not. But like if you're the late person, you're known as the late person. If you're the dirty car person, embrace it. You're the dirty car person. Nobody wants to ride in the front seat of your car because you've got chips and if it's like me, I've got Cheerios and sippy cups all over my Jeep. But you're known for something, whether you like it or not, and that's you're not going to escape that. All you can do is kind of influence it and make those adjustments. Like hey, if you're the constantly late person, you can either embrace it, roll with it, and rock on. You can be you, but if it's something you want to adjust, then that's something you need to work on and start looking at like, do I want to be known for this?
Yeah. It's funny. Sheryl Sandberg just came out and announced that there is no such thing as a personal brand. I think her quote was like, stop saying personal branding. It's not a thing. Brands are companies. Sure. And Brian and I have had, a number of conversations about that because, even a brand, a company brand is just the collective perception in other people's minds. And you can write that by being consistent about what you put out there. Visually and what you say in your messaging and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's the same for people, right? It's what people perceive of you.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I would say, I'm not going to say someone's wrong. I haven't read, the entire article or anything like that, but I can tell you that if someone's thinking about getting a tattoo, I'm the first person they ask. It's just what they come up to me and, hey, I'm thinking about getting a tattoo. Where should I go?
Yeah.
So having being a heavily tattooed person, I am, even for strangers, I'm the tattoo go-to person that's approachable, so I think we have that. Like, if I wanted to know more about wine, I'm going to tweet you from the grocery store. Like, what do I get? Right? Like between you and me, like that's what I'm going to do.
Mia's actually on listening right now. So I'm sure she's
hey, Mia.
shouting from the rooftops.
You can use me as a resource anytime you like.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, that's what I know. So, I think there is personal brand, like people know you for something. That's just human nature. We know people based off of what we know about them. So, the core to personal brand is helping people know what you're about. What I do here at GoDaddy, I tell people, part of my job is our employee, advocacy program. So getting people to share articles that are good for small businesses. And I tell people, like, when you first start out, you're going to want to post something every single day. Our employees, they'll want to post something about GoDaddy every day because we're really excited here. And it's just part of our culture. We are really excited about small businesses and helping them achieve what they want to achieve. But if you just post GoDaddy stuff all day long, like I'm gonna walk over, tap you on the shoulder, and go, I want to see your kids. I want to see what you did this weekend. What are your hobbies? I want to see like 80% of that and only 20% GoDaddy stuff. Mm-hmm. Because if I don't know who you are, I don't care what you're about. Like if I know you as a person, and even on social, just like Courtney, like we've never met face to face, but we interact on Twitter a lot, and I've listened in and we've commented on different shows together. So, that I know that about you. So I'm going to reach out to you for that because that's what I know. But, I think that's one of the key parts is really kind of understanding what you're about, and knowing who to reach out to for stuff like that. But don't take it seriously and don't overshare like your one thing that you think people know about you. Branch out, talk about something else. If you're into cars, I want to know what kind of cars you're into.
Well, let's talk about your video. Well, first and foremost, just shout out to Dennis Yu, because he I know worked with you on a Y video, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And you put your Y video out. That was one of the first things I think you put out, if I'm not mistaken.
Very first video ever.
And so talk us through that. What is the Y video? What did you put out, and how did that work for you?
Yeah. So my first video ever was just a why video. And I had to come up with an idea of like, okay, what really drives me? And that's a hard thing to do if you really, sit down and what's one defining moment in my 44 years of being alive, and, for me, it was, my wife, we got pregnant right when I started at GoDaddy. And so, for us, it was, I'm hearing these things like, congratulations, you're pregnant. And then we found out literally like the first time we had the sonogram, at 3 months, like, hey, by the way, you're going to have twins. And the doctor had to take he was showing somebody like it was a training school. So there was like another kid there, and, he's like moves in the middle of the sonogram. He moves the thing. So I couldn't see it. So first I'm like, what's going on? Like I kind of get defensive. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then the nurse comes in and she's like, doctor, you have a phone call. And my wife is the nicest person in the entire world. She's like, go ahead and take your call. It's okay. And I'm over here like, what's going on? I was, okay, well, congratulations. I'll leave you with this. You're having twins. And so like blew my mind. I was like, well, where did this come from? I was 34 at the time. And so, we had no idea. And honestly, we weren't even trying to get pregnant. She just got pregnant. And so like, it was definitely like a whirlwind. And I spent the next 9 months thinking like, going to have twins, and we knew they were boys. So we're like twin boys. I had like every athletic scholarship that I would like them to have. I picked out all the like chess. Okay, we need to go chess club. We definitely need some gymnastics for coordination. Like, I did the stupidest stuff planning for the first like 9 months. And then, Bodie and Aiden, it, came time like, hey, it's delivery day. And Aiden comes out and everything's cool. They're like, okay, here you go, show, and then hand them off. And then the next, here's Bodie. And Bodie's like holding on to a rib. He's not having any part of this. And so they get him out and they're like, he's not breathing. Well, first they move him over to the corner, and I see like a huddle of nurses where Aiden, they just kind of took him and carted him off. Like, it was very chill. And then I've got like a bunch of nurses over with Bodie, and I ask like, what's going on? And they're like, he's not breathing. And at that point, like, everything stopped. Everything stopped. Every plan I had, every moment that I had thought about and fantasized about what it's going to be like to have kids was just gone. And all I could think of was like, just breathe, bro. I just need you to breathe. Inhale. And that changed my life completely, because at that point, I stopped thinking like everything should be planned out and just enjoy the moment, because I realized in a blink of an eye, 9 months have gone by, and I really didn't stop to cherish every single moment of like the pregnancy and what Bren was going through. And so that just changed me forever. And that's the basic of my why video.
Oh, wow. So what, that's a great story. I love that. How did you translate that to sharing it out?
Okay. So that one, I put it up on Facebook, but that's not the viral video. If you want to talk about the viral video, that's a different one. But
well, I mean, I do. I want to talk about that. But when you did put that up, what happened out of that?
Yeah, I mean, people reacted to it really well, and I was really shocked, because here you're sharing such a vulnerable moment with complete strangers, and all you could think is like, man, I hope you think like I've got thick skin, and it was really well received. There was a lot of video views on it, good comments, and opened up a lot of good discussion, which is great. That was what was most important to me, was having other people share their stories. Just like, it's a human thing, right? We talk about H all the time, and it gave people an opportunity to tell me about their experiences. And that's what I cherish the most about that. Like, I don't mind sharing personal stories about myself and being that like authentic, here I am crying, here I am smiling, here I am laughing. I don't mind doing that, and putting myself out there, because it gives other people, I don't want to say permission, but it almost makes them feel comfortable doing that with me. And so I think that's one of the best piece of advice I can give anybody is, you can try and play this role that you have built up in your head, but you're going to fall every single time, because you can't act for the rest of your life. Just be you, and if you cry up and you got a bunch of tattoos on your neck, it's all right. And if you cry and you don't, that's all right too. Like, just be yourself, because that's what we crave. We're as a society, I think we're dying for that.
Yeah. Well, and I think that you just saying that, we all know that that's absolutely authentic, because of the next video that we can talk about, where you were talking to your son about being bullied for his long hair. Right. And that was exactly the message that you were sharing with everyone. Why don't you talk us through that experience and why you decided to put it on video, and then why you think eventually it got 73 million views?
Yeah, it's insane. I was telling Brian about it like earlier. That video was never intended to be published or posted on Facebook at all. So I've got twins. They're 9 years old. And the only thing they care about in life is Minecraft and watching other people play Minecraft.
Yep.
So they will watch video reviews of people playing a game that they could play all day long. So I know that they love that kind of stuff. And so just as a parenting thing, I always like, if they don't want to do something, I'm like, hey, jump your bike off the curb. I want to get a video of it. I'll put it on Facebook. And they're like, okay, cool. And they'll do something that they don't necessarily want to do or had planned, because they think I'm putting it on Facebook. They're 9. They don't have Facebook. And so they have no idea that I have all these videos that I've never posted ever. So there's that. So the first thing is I authentically lie to my kids about putting their videos on Facebook.
Hey, that would make you a parent.
Right. Yeah. Right. So my boys are really competitive. So we separate them from homework. So I do homework upstairs with one boy. Bren does homework downstairs with another boy. And we separate them so they don't think like, oh, I'm not as smart as my brother today because he finished homework before I did. Mm-hmm. So I'm upstairs with Aiden, the older brother. And, Bren comes up and I tell her, hey, I'm doing the speaking gig in Atlanta. I need to get my hair cut. And Bodie tells me I need to cut mine too. And I'm like, bro, you're right. You're so close. Cause it's been about a year since they started growing their hair out, and they're growing their hair out because they want to donate it to like a Wigs for Kids type place, or one of those wigs for kids that are having like medical issues that make their hair fall out so that they can have a wig of hair. And they came to us about a year ago, not prompted by us at all. And said, hey, we want to do this. So I'm like, where did you hear this? And I think they just saw it on a YouTube video, how to make a wig. Wow. And so it inspired them, and that's what they wanted to do. So he's ready to cut it before it's long enough. And so that's when I knew something was going on. And I kind of look at him like, well, what's going on? And Bren is standing behind him doing the universal like hair thing. So she's like, hair. And I'm trying to figure out what she's cluing in on. I was like, did someone say something about your hair, dude? And he's like, yeah, I got made fun of today at school. And so I was like, well, tell me what's going on. He's like, I don't really remember. So I knew at that point, like, he doesn't want to talk about it. So I'm like, let's go talk. So the first room I can go to that doesn't have anybody in it is our master bathroom. Sit on the edge of the tub. And I'm like, let's talk, man. And he's like, I don't really remember. And I'm like, what if we make a video about it? He's like, oh, okay. So then I knew like, okay, I can at least hear about what happened. So I get out my phone, just like everyone else has. He's out in front of me. And
what do you think? What do you think made him okay with doing a video versus talking to you?
I think for him, he idolizes, YouTubers and stuff like that. And so I think he probably it gave him a moment to feel like he was a YouTuber, and it took him out of that gross, like self-analyzing, like someone made fun of me and I felt bad, to something that he really loves, which is seeing himself on a video. Yeah. So I think, because I turned the video around so he could see it. So I'm holding it out. I'm doing this like you can see me, but holding it out so he could see himself. And I think that gave him like the courage and the confidence to like, okay, this looks familiar to me and I'll talk about it. But, that's just a parenting technique you pick up, just by knowing your kids. Some people, are like that. So, I tell him like, let's talk, and we start shooting the video. And if you watch the original on my Facebook, it's about 3 minutes long. And you can tell, like, I have no idea what to say. Like, I start out like, say hi to my friends, and poor little Bodie's like, hi. And I'm like, say hi to my friends on Facebook. He's like, hi. Because I have no idea how to breach the subject. Like, kids don't come with a manual, and we've all been bullied. And, even your bullies have been bullied. So I have no idea. All I know is how, like, I got bullied. And so I knew that I wanted to tell him, like, football players have long hair. Because in the moment, the only thing I think of is like, there's like, they think football's cool, kind of like, we'll play that. We'll go like, football players have long hair. And I'll at least tell them like, I get picked on sometimes because I have tattoos. And that's really the only thing I knew I'd talk about. And the rest, I was just trying to figure out what was going on with him. So I'm probing and he's answering, and, everything that you shouldn't have in a viral video was happening for me. It was like, I'm in the middle of, talking to him, and the cat walks in, hits over the shampoo bottles. You hear that halfway through. We're shooting it. Also, it's in our master bedroom or our master bathroom. So we have a window that I covered with an old like window dressing, so to speak. But the sun comes in, it bleached it. So that's all kind of gross. And then about 3 weeks before this, we had a leaky shower head. And so Bren's like, I need you to go fix this on your day off. So I go down, and it's like, we have like an old house. So it's got this brass fixture with like this white plastic shower head screwed on. You can still see the Teflon tape. It's all wrong. Everything that you don't want someone to see about your house. 90 million people have seen that. I was wearing a fluorescent green sweaty gym tank top that like I just came out of the gym wearing, and my hair is like all wrong. So we'll just add that on there. I'm like, I'm wearing a dumb tank top with uncombed hair in my bathroom.
Well, that's probably part of why it was so relatable to everybody, because that's who we are and what we do when we're not on camera, right?
Right. No, yeah, absolutely. And the only reason it got posted is I start tearing up at the end. You can see that. And then that's when I turn off the video. I tell him, like, go wash your hair, take your shower. I show his mom the video so she knows, like, do we need to call the school? No, I think we're good. I saw him kind of get his, talking about it and talking, and he tells me at the very end, like, it's okay to be unique. And that just, like, that floored me. I start to cry. I'm like, you nailed it, buddy. You got it. Turn off the video, show it to Bren. She's good. And then he goes and does his shower. Well, about 10 minutes later, he comes walking in. He goes, hey, can I read the comments on that video? And that's when I'm like, oh God.
Oh crap.
So, yeah. Really. So I look at my wife and she's like, oh, I don't know. So I literally post it thinking 10 people would see it. I didn't post it on my public page. I posted it on my profile. Expected maybe 5 or 6 of my close friends to be like, Thor has long hair. He's awesome. You're good, Bodie. So I read him a couple of comments. He felt good about it. We all went to bed. And the next morning, opening up my phone, usually I'm a 2-swipe notification type person. So I could just go bloop, bloop, and I'm done. This one just kept going. And I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. So I literally, like, at 7 a.m, yell downstairs to my wife, like, babe. She's like, yeah. I'm like, 14,000 people have looked at our bathroom. And that's when I started hearing, oh God, oh God, oh God. From her. Yeah. And it just took off from there. That was a Wednesday morning. And by Friday, CBS, like the main CBS News, had picked it up. I had an email from the Ellen DeGeneres show. Like, it just went right away, quick.
What happened with that? Did Ellen was interested?
Yeah. She was interested at first, and they did an interview with me, and we talked about it, and then they did an interview with Bodie, and literally, like, it was the first day of like spring break, because it was back in March. And so they caught him, like, hiking with Bren and his brother. And I think he spent the whole time explaining to the producer how he hates his brother because his brother was walking in front of him and pushed him earlier on the hike. So he just basically went into a rant about why he doesn't like his brother. So I don't think we'll ever show up on Ellen because he's not the greatest interview
that makes
subject.
Yeah, right? So I was thinking about this the other day, and about how on social media, so many of us, and I don't know how to even do a percentage on this, or if there's any research behind it, but my gut tells me that most people post, obviously in the moment, but it's a staged moment. And I wonder, if and I do this, I catch myself doing this, where you look at your hair, you're like, no, that's not a good background, and you take it again, or and even though we call it in the moment, it's not truly in the moment.
Right.
There's a slight variation to that moment that we capture that gets put up onto Facebook or onto Twitter or onto LinkedIn or whatever it is. And I think there's something to it, what you're talking about, where when you don't change whatever it is that, that you're going to do in the moment, in the true moment, and you post it, the fear that goes through everyone's mind of actually posting that up, and what effect that has on whatever audience that's going to see what you just posted. And so that makes Facebook and social media not truly in the moment. And you've managed to capture something different, something that actually was just right there and then. And that's awesome. But how have you managed to create that, maybe, and how do you counsel people to do that over and over again?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's you're right. I think that's what made our video, people relate to it, because it's something that I think they could relate to themselves. Like, everyone has that, replaced shower head nozzle, right? And had I thought about it, I mean, because I do video production all the time with our just at the company, where I work. And so, if I overthink it and you think about it too much, you won't do anything, And so for me, I think it was knowing that I had complete freedom to fail because I never planned on posting it. And so, for me, like, walking in and if I stutter, or if I, the cat knocks over shampoo bottles, it doesn't matter because no one's ever going to see this. And so that is highly influenced the stuff that I do now. Just posting a picture. Like last night, I posted a picture up of, all the kids like just jumped on me, and we had some ice cream, and, my hair's like really wrong in this picture. And, for me, I normally wouldn't post that because like, I don't look great or as good as I could look. But that's what I look like in the moment. And that's how I look like to my kids. And so I think about it like, I'm going to have a legacy when I'm gone. And as much as I want to, always, look on point or something like that, like we're human, right? Like it's like going to someone's profile page and looking at like the photos that they post and the ones they're tagged in. We always make jokes about that, but like, you've got the one where you post it and it's your profile picture and it's literally like this and we're perfect, right? And then you see like the one that like you just look at photos that you're tagged in and you're like making a really like face. And that's life, right? Like everyone has that sneeze or that like, for me, I'm an ugly cry person, and so like rock it, just embrace who you are. Your friends are going to love you either way. And if someone is there to judge you for it, yeah, they're not the best person to be in your life anyway. Peace out.
I think I just figured out the t-shirt we're going to get you.
Yeah.
There's the opposite side to this too. And that's that here it is ironic that you pushed out a video that was heartfelt, authentic in the moment, didn't plan on posting it. It's about bullying. And I did read comments throughout the internet, wherever it got posted every once in a while, pop up on my timeline, especially in what's his name? Takeda.
George
Takei. Yeah. So when he posted it too, it was interesting to me that there were great people out there that were supporting it, but there were also bullies on a topic about bullies. Like, I can't believe you would do this with your son, and how dare you, and like all this stuff. And I saw your responses, and they were absolutely awesome. Like, here's what we were thinking. That's all I can tell you. Or like, what was going through your mind though when you're facing bullies on a topic of bullying?
When you're looking at those comments and you're looking at those feeds, the first thing you want to do is be defensive. That's like my first initial reaction is like defend people's criticism. But at the same time, like I understand, like, yeah, I understand where people are coming from. I saw one where people are saying like, this wasn't bullying, this was being picked on. And they got very excited and looking at like terms and stuff like that. And for me, I'm like, I'm just a dad trying to figure this stuff out. My son was hurting. I try and talk through it with him so that he understands what's happening. And for him, he was going to cut his hair just so like he gets, so someone doesn't make fun of him. And what I needed him to understand is like, you need to not do that, because if you cave now, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of fitting in and doing something you don't want to do just to fit in. And I can't be with them, in junior high, walking the halls or at every high school party they go to. All I can do is instill that sense of like who they are and what they stand for, and not caving to that peer pressure. And coming up with replies, for me, I think I would do like a video reply just so someone could understand the tone that I'm coming at the reply with. Like, hey, I totally understand what you're saying. This is why I did this. This is why I didn't say X, Y, or Z. One of the real common ones was, so what happened? He's grown his hair out, and the initial thing was someone said, hey, some boys that he knows said, you have long hair, you look like a girl. And a lot of people got upset that I didn't say like, it's okay to be, it's, why is that a bad thing? And it's not. It's not a bad thing at all. Like Brent is awesome. Their mom, she's, she has a huge heart. She's strong mentally and physically. And so they see that every single day. They know what like a strong woman looks like. And so for me, it's literally like at that age range, being in third grade at 9 years old, the only difference between boys and girls in third grade is your plumbing. And so, that was what was being attacked, was like who he identifies as a person. And so like a lot of people, that's the first thing that they'll want to bring up is like, and if you just think that this is a one and done video and then I never talk to my kids, well, yeah, I would totally understand that. But like, that's a conversation we have all the time. You just don't see it. So I think that's one of the harder parts, is explaining to people, like, you just saw a 3-minute snapshot of my life as I'm trying to figure stuff out. And I'm never going to tell you, like, I'm a great dad. Like, I'm mediocre on my best day. Like, I'm winging it all the time. And sometimes you nail it. Sometimes
you fail it.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, you don't. Like, I remember potty training. Like, I would let him, like, pee in the backyard, because, like, at that point, like, okay, you have to go, just pee.
Right.
So, we ended up, and this is, talk about authentic. Like, you're gonna hate me for this, but we're walking out of Old Navy, and it's literally like, Bren's got one boy, I've got Bodie. We're walking. I turn around, he's gone. I've lost my son from the door of Old Navy to the car. I turn around. He's I think he was like 2.5. He's got his pants pulled down. He's peeing on a palm tree on the sidewalk in front of the store where people are walking. And I'm just standing there like, oh man, someone's going to see this. They're judging me. I'm the tattooed dad that's letting his kid, like, pee on the palm tree in front of Old Navy. But, and I'm over here just ecstatic, like, clapping, like, dude, you got it. Like, yes. Right. You're learning.
That did not land in your pants. That landed outside.
Right. Yeah. You totally recognize it. And so, like,
don't feel bad. I actually have seen a little kid go to the bathroom outside the mall. So you're not alone.
That's so good.
I still do that. Is that a problem?
I can't take him anywhere. That's his excuse not to go to the mall.
It's just faster.
But I mean, I think that's to answer your question though, Brian. Yeah, I think that was the hardest part, was dealing with people wanting to criticize you. And you just have to the same advice I gave my son, like, don't take it personally, and explain yourself if you want to. For me, I choose to try and explain to people so they understand where I'm coming from. But I understand, like, it's a weird thing. Like, you're peering in on, like, this like really voyeuristic moment of me just talking to my son, hoping that, like, he's going to be all right. Cause at the time he wasn't. And as a parent, it freezes you. You just stop and you're like, I have to try and fix this.
Well, what? I wish that Facebook would change the word comment to ask a question, because the thing about social media is it gives everyone the opportunity to judge, because everything is out of context. Right. You're inviting judgment by just asking people to comment on your videos, because you're right. Every post is a snapshot in time. And you don't know what that person is going through, what they're thinking, what they're dealing with, why they posted it. There's so many questions that you could ask, like, tell me more about this situation.
Right.
But people have, I think, lost or are losing the fine art of conversation. When it comes to having a conversation, conversation means 2 ways or 3 ways or 4 ways when you're in a group.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I'm a fan. But anyway, when it's just a broadcast and receive, that's not a conversation.
Yeah.
Right. No, 100%. Like, I would, when the video first started gaining, every time someone would share it, like, I would try and spend as much time as I could going in and replying to everybody's comment. And then, as it picks up, one news agency gets it, then another one. It's just impossible. Mm-hmm. But I do my best to try and go in there and still answer questions and let people know what's going on, and hey, what you've seen, like, and the other part of, like, having a viral video is, like, I know my video, and then Mike takes it, chops it up, makes a 3-minute video into a 1-minute video. Mm-hmm. BuzzFeed did the same thing. They actually interviewed us and then shot, so it got condensed even more. And so, I understand when people think, like, oh, this is staged or this is fake. And I just tell them, like, trust me, if this was staged, this wouldn't, if I would change anything, like, I definitely wouldn't have shot it in our bathroom with the cat walking around, and I would have changed that on my tank top. Like, the hair I would have let go, but like I don't want to portray myself as, like, that, like, bro tank tattooed guy, but that's what I was at that moment, that's what I was. And it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to help him out, and he wanted to read some comments from someone other than his dad. And so that's why it got posted. And, it definitely, if I was looking to post it, for, like, I want a bunch of people to see this, I would have posted on my public figure page. but I just posted it on my personal profile because, for me, it wasn't something that I wanted to take off or anything like that. It just happens, and it happens really quick.
So just kind of bringing this back around to what this means to the company that you work for,
Mm-hmm.
Knowing GoDaddy and Sean and everyone you work with, like we do, they probably embraced it, but that's not typically the norm of a person who's being in the moment and being authentic, but also building authentically their personal brand.
Right.
What tips you have for companies out there that they don't know what to expect, so they don't allow it?
Right.
Why is that? And how do they start? How do they get them to get feel good about sharing their personal brand?
Yeah. I mean, I would tell you what started me going on it was I would realize, like, people think they know the GoDaddy brand, especially years ago. Right. So as we're transitioning into, moving away from like an older era into the brand that we have now, where we're all about small business, for us internally, it's always been that way. And so if we go to a conference and someone walks up and we start talking, like, we notice that people, like, I really enjoyed talking with Sean Funder. I really enjoyed talking with Isaac. And GoDaddy's not so bad. Like, they're good people. And so, like that started people thinking, like, well, let me look more into this company and this brand that I thought I knew, but maybe I can re-examine it and look at it because I know some cool people that are working there. And so I would tell businesses, like, when you're building up your employees and you're building up their personal brand, the first thing that people get scared about is, well, what if I build them up and someone takes them? What if I have this developer that's really good at WordPress development, say, and they start posting about stuff that they're doing with WordPress, and they start posting and other people see it and they're helping out the community, and then some big giant other corporation comes in and says, hey, we're going to take them. We want you to come work for us. The way I see it is, I look at that like that's a great thing. You helped someone along their career path. That's what you should be doing as an employee, as an employer, helping people be the best that they can. And if you're worried that someone's going to come in and poach your employees because you help build their personal brand, you have more of a hiring problem than a branding and advocacy problem. If you're putting out content and you're asking your employees to build on their brand, and you're putting out stuff that's really great, they're gonna want to share it. And that's, could be, what did they get out of it? So as a brand, before I post anything or I ask someone to share something, I think to myself, like, one, would I share this? And what are they going to get out of it? What is their audience going to get out of this? And if the answer is nothing, then, I'll tell someone, like, this isn't for you to share. This might be great for, this person and that person. Like, he might be great for his audience and her audience, your audience, not so much. Don't post that. Your audience better than anybody else. So, for me, they definitely encourage me to, like, I told my boss, like, hey, I'm feel like this is a full-time job on top of my regular job, just handling media requests. And they were like, do what you have to do. This kind of stuff doesn't come along every day, but, learn from it and explain, like, what you learned to everyone else you talk to. And that's kind of been my mantra of, like, going through this experience and helping other people. But yeah, I think, building up, helping your employees build their brand is just going to benefit you and your business personally, because, you look at, say someone starts out and, look, they're a rock star, just the world doesn't know they're a rock star.
So Boy, was that product placement timing? That's crazy.
I was just lifting my drink to take a sip right when you said that.
Right. And so as the world sees that and they come to know your employee, they're going to look at it like, well, let's say your brand's called Acme or whatever. I'm just making something up, but, like, they're going to look at, Isaac's really awesome. He works for Acme. Acme must be really cool too. And so it's a basic thing. Like, help them build up who they are and who they know and who knows them, and get them out speaking.
Yeah.
Encourage your employees to go out and speak and share what with the rest of the industry and the rest of the world, regardless of what it is, That's the easiest way to look at it.
Well, we always say people buy from people, not from companies.
100%.
So Mitch Jackson has a question here. He said, how important is it to give yourself breathing room when building your brand to accommodate future changes in circumstances?
For me, like I had that happen personally with like, I love Jeeps. I'll tell you right now, like I love Jeeps, and I used to tweet a lot about Jeeps. And then I realized like that audience knows a lot more than I know about Jeeps. Like I just like driving them and looking at Jeeps that have been built up. But when it comes to when someone would reply with I might post a picture of me with my Jeep, like Jeep life, at the gas station pumping it up, because that's more accurate than just a picture of like, my Jeep on a trail or something. And someone would ask me about like, well, what's your gear ratio? I had no clue. Like whatever it came in when I bought this thing was an old farm Jeep. So looking at stuff like that, like I would steer away from that once I realized like that's not really my jam. I'm not really feeling that community. There's nothing wrong with the Jeep community. I just can't hang with the Jeep community at that level. And so, give yourself room to adapt, because you're all like what you're into right now can completely change tomorrow. So to answer that, like I wouldn't say lock yourself into something, but it's, find the stuff that you're truly passionate about, and you're not going to be able to fake that well at all. You're just going to have to tweet about that. You're just whatever you're naturally drawn to talking about. I tell people, when you're developing your brand, think about what people stop and talk to you about in the hallway when you're at work or you're walking around. That's your brand right there. And if you want to change it, start introducing other things and see how it works out for you. But you're going to want to talk about the stuff that you're really truly passionate about. Like try and find someone that watched a Netflix series like Making a Murder or Stranger Things and didn't get excited and tell everyone that they know when they're walking in on Monday morning, like, I just binge watched this show. It's amazing. Like you can't help it. You're going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just natural. So look at that kind of stuff that comes naturally for you to talk about. And that's what your main points are going to be. And then dabble. If you're into something else, totally okay to share. Like you'll randomly see me share really random articles about like the doorknobs or the doorbells that have like video cameras in it. Cause like I was like, I don't need one. I just think they're cool. So I started tweeting about it, asking if people have seen them before. And, for a while there, people were like, did you get it yet? What's it like? And I'm like, I'm still looking, man. But yeah.
I installed it in your house and I can see what you're doing.
Right, exactly.
I want to make this segue here. So, cause I know that you and I'm hoping we can go a little bit longer here too, since we had some tech issues in the beginning, but I know you and I share a love of movies.
Yep.
And I want to plug your new podcast called Movie Church.
Yes.
And I have started, admittedly, only just a third of the way through your Pretty in Pink episode.
Oh, yeah.
Sean, but I love the dynamic between you and Sean. And tell everyone out there just a little bit about why you guys decided to start this podcast specifically about 80s and 90s movies. And then I'm going to ask a question that Stacy DiPolo, someone you might know.
I do.
GoDaddy.
Yeah.
That she asked.
Sure, absolutely. So the idea of the podcast came up because we just talk about movies all the time. And we got in a debate. Sean Funder, the co-host, he's like the main host of the show. We were talking about like about Ducky and Pretty in Pink. And we have this big affinity because I watched Pretty in Pink at least 100 times. I have the VHS tape. I remember I saved up all summer long to buy it. And I was like, Ducky is amazing. And then someone that we know had commented like, actually, he's kind of a jerk and not a great guy. And so we immediately like went home and watched it to get like not together, but like watched it and decided we're going to come back and talk about it tomorrow. And so we did that. And we had this long conversation about like how, Andrew was actually the hero of the story and Ducky was horrible. And so we decided like, let's look at old 80s movies. Let's talk about what they meant to us as kids, watch them as adults and parents and see if they still hold up. How many movies like actually do change their meaning or how thinking about, life and the experiences we've had in the last 20 years since we've watched a lot of these, how different they are. And so that's the origin of how it started. So we've done Breakfast Club, we've done Pretty in Pink, we've done Labyrinth, and we've done Better Off Dead. So
Oh my God. Well, and I think you talking about this is pertinent to this particular H2H chat, because it is about something that you love, and now everyone is understanding that these 80s and 90s movies is part of your brand too, and it gives people another entry point of conversation to be able to get into a relationship with you and also the broader world of GoDaddy. So
yeah,
I'm loving the podcast.
yeah, thank you so much. Like it's one of those things like you don't really think anyone's going to listen or watch, and like we don't look at stat. We're the worst podcasters ever. Like we just record it, one take, no editing, we upload it, and then we move on to the next one. So like we don't I don't know how many people have heard it or listened to it, and it's just something that we do that's fun, and I joke about it all the time. Like I peaked in the 80s. Like I really feel like the 80s were strong for me, and I was born in 72 to put that in perspective. So like I peaked, and like Depeche Mode is still my favorite band. I still prefer 80s movies and the original Star Wars trilogy to anything else that comes out nowadays. So, yeah, it's definitely part of me. And if you're listening to this, you want to talk 80s, absolutely, like Twitter it up.
I feel like you're my spirit animal, Isaac. For real.
Right.
But so the question that Stacy asked, and I want you to answer this in the context of the podcast.
Sure.
Is how can we respond to negative feedback to adjust our personal brand without losing authenticity? So imagine you get some negative comments to your podcast.
Sure. I would say, I mean, be open to it, and look at that feedback as a gift, and see, like, first you have to analyze, like, is this someone trolling me, or is it really good, honest feedback? And if it's truly honest, good feedback, then I don't like adjusting isn't going to hurt your authenticity. It just, everybody wants to be better. If somebody says something that you disagree with, hold the line. If you believe in it, then hold the line. But be open to other people's opinions and listen to what they have to say. Like we don't, none of us have this all figured out. And so, I'm always open to criticism, open to feedback. Cause that's, I feel like that's what really makes me a better person, is listening, and to especially like my wife she gives me feedback all day long. Let me just tell you, and I'm a better person because of it. So, if I stopped taking criticism and taking feedback, like I think we would all, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be as happy as I am. But yeah, Stacy, like definitely if you feel strongly about something, do you, boo, like just do it and hold fast to it, because that's also going to be your brand. Someone that's like, I know plenty of stubborn people, then that's part of their brand, and they go with it, and it works. Like that's like I can tell, tens of I should say tens of friends. I have about 10 friends I know that are like that just stick to it, and whether they're right or wrong, they'll go through it, and we know that about them, and that's part of who they are, and you understand that as a friend. But I don't think they lose authenticity by adapting or changing that.
Yeah. Well, and can I please nominate Some Kind of Wonderful for your next movie?
That is the second time someone's brought that up, because if Some Kind of Wonderful is the opposite ending of what when you look at Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful is the ending that we all wanted, where like, if Ducky were to play drums and change genders, then he gets the girl, or the girl gets the boy. It's Some Kind of Wonderful. So I'm really excited to talk about that one. Weird Science is the next one we have coming up, but after that,
oh my God,
yeah, I'm going to bring up, I'll bring it up to Sean. We have a list literally on the wall of like, of his office of just all the movies we want to do. I know we want to do like Grease 2 instead of Grease 1.
Interesting.
Yeah, cool writer. Yeah. But yeah, we should have some pretty funny ones coming up, but Some Kind of Wonderful is on the list, because that's definitely one of them.
Yes. I'm sorry. I wanted to be Watts so badly when I was growing up.
Yeah.
All right. So we have to, unfortunately, we got to close this out. Time just flies right by. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you getting on and talking through your experiences, your thoughts on how other companies can build their personal brands, how you've done it. I've gotten a ton of value out of it. I really appreciate exactly what you said around the difference between in the moment and really in the moment. And I think that for me is really the takeaway here for really truly connecting, which is what I think every human really wants to do. So thank you once again, Isaac. Really appreciate you. How can everyone reach you?
The easiest way to find me, Twitter is @the_Isaac, and I apologize for that name, but it was like available 10 years ago, and I thought it was funny. And now as I progressed in my professional career, it's one of those ones when people ask you what it is, you're just kind of like embarrassed to tell, but that's what it is. It's @the_Isaac, THEISAAC. And then on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Isaac, ISAAC. Middle initial is I, true story. Irvine, IRVINE, like the city in California.
Oh, what does your middle name stand for?
It's Isaiah, ironically enough. It's Isaac Isaiah Irvine. Yeah, and I'm named after both grandparents on either side. So
nice.
You're an IQ.
Flipped a coin. Yeah.
All right. Well, I can imagine your mom mad at you, Isaiah. So
that's exactly what happens when I get one of these, and she'll come at me with like the flip flop, and she'll show it to me before. I'm a grown man, Brian. But if I see this, what do you need, Mom? I'm all over it. I'll come right over it.
Yeah.
So.
I never thought of using a flip-flop as a weapon, but thank you for that.
Oh, my mom can hit me from across the room. We even had like one of those little in our kitchen, like a little, what do you call it, like a serving nook window. I've watched her sidearm. I talked back one time in front of my friends, and she sidearmed a shoe, and it literally just like flew through the air and just hit me. My friends were in awe, and we were all very behaved to this day.
Oh my God.
See, if only there was a video that we could promote showing.
Oh my God. Yeah. My mom's got some
throwing thing.
Yeah.
So thank you once again, Isaac. Really, really appreciate it. We could just keep talking to you for hours, but thank you so much. And to everyone else out there, if you are looking for what's coming next week is actually our last show and then in July, I believe we are going dark. I'm just checking.
On hiatus.
Yep. July is dark, and then we're back in August. So next week will be our last show, and our next week's show will be ending with Mitch Jackson. Mitch is a close friend of the Human Marketing Hub community. He's going to talk to everybody about how to remain human in high-stakes business negotiations. So everyone negotiates. I'm pretty sure that's just a part of business and life. He's going to talk about how to work through that. And there's no better person than Mitch, I think, to talk us through that. So it's going to be a great show. Looking forward to that next Monday, same time, same place. Our closing show for this month, and also we'll be on hiatus for July. We'll be back in August. So thank you guys so much for sticking around. We've got some great people. Yep, thanks, Mitch. Good to see you. And thanks again for being here. Mia, Charlie, Brian Fanzo, Manuel, Jeff. Let's see. We've got lots of people. Cindy, Maya, Saye, I think, Shabal, Jed. So many great people. Keeps going.
And that's just on Facebook.
And that's just on Facebook.
Whole different group on Twitter too.
We got lots of people chiming in. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Isaac.
We will see you back. Thank you once again, Isaac. We'll
Thanks
see you back next week, same time, same place. Mitch Jackson. See you guys soon. Have a great week.
Cheers.
See you later.